Hi, everybody. Welcome into the New Orleans Saints post-game show presented by Mercedes-Benz. I'm Caroline Gonzalez. I'll be joined shortly by our New Orleans Saints senior writer, John DeShazier. We'll also have the press conferences live of Sean Payton, Drew Brees, and several other players. So we'll get you over to Ford Field as soon as possible. Your Saints come out with a win, 35-29 over the Detroit Lions. JD, can you give us a quick synopsis of the game?
Well, I mean, the Saints were kind of desperate, and they needed one, and they were able to get it. I can't say they were any more desperate than the Lions were. I mean, the Lions were also 1-2 coming into this game, but the Saints were able to fend off an early challenge from Detroit. The Lions scored the first 14 points of this game. The Saints came back with 5 touchdowns on 5 consecutive possessions, which was huge for this offense, and even more so, the defense got 4 consecutive stops after that rocky start. So it was nice to see Patrick Robinson and P.J. Williams show up in that secondary at the starting cornerback. They had a couple of guys injured, obviously. Marshawn Lattimore and Jack Rabbit Jenkins not able to play this game. P-Rob with a huge interception in the end zone, which I really think swung the total momentum of this game. Even though the Saints had gotten it going offensively, they needed a defensive stop, especially in the end zone when they had their backs against the wall. You were thinking maybe field goal at best, and they come up with an interception. So that really turned things around, and they were able to cash that in and turn it into a touchdown offensively. So I thought the Saints did a great job there. Running the ball, they needed to run the ball a little bit because, obviously if you don't have Michael Thomas and you don't have Jared Cook, you're probably going to have a little bit more balanced offense. So I thought they ran it extremely well. But I can't say enough for the jobs that Emmanuel Sanders and Traquan Smith had. Traquan Smith with a couple of touchdown catches. He also recovered a fumble, which turned out to be huge offensively for this team. And Emmanuel Sanders, we've been wondering when he was going to have a big day or an Emmanuel Sanders day or a game where it looked like he was in sync with Drew Brees. We saw that in this game offensively. So I thought offensively, the Saints probably played their best game of the season. And then defensively, yeah, they gave up a couple of late scores, but they got some needed stops when they had to. They couldn't get every stop that you want, but they were able to get, I think, 3 sacks. Cam Jordan got his first of the season. Trey Hendrickson got one. They were also able to get an interception, as we mentioned, from Patrick Robinson, and I thought that really played well for them. It was a good, balanced effort. Now, they got some nicked up guys in this game. We saw Justin Hardy leave late in the game. We saw Deontay Harris leave late in the game. We saw Ryan Ramczyk have to leave this game with a concussion. So he's in concussion protocol, and his availability for the Monday night game might be in question. So they got banged up a little bit, and they already were missing 6 starters coming into this game. Some of those 6 starters undoubtedly will be back for the Monday night game, and they're going to need them, especially if the guys who got nicked up in this game can't play on Monday night. But I think for everything that's happened over the last 12, 15 hours with the false positive test on Michael Burton and the team having a little bit of rest, and then they got off to a slow start in this game, I thought they responded extremely well early to that adversity.
We should be hearing from head coach Sean Payton in just a bit, but JD, what do you think a game like this does for the offensive confidence? We've heard all week about Drew Brees. Can he get the ball downfield? Emmanuel Sanders, where does he fit in? You saw that from Emmanuel Sanders, not only him, Latavius Murray, Traquan Smith, Alvin Kamara, like you said, but what does that do for the confidence of this offense?
Well, I think it helps out Emmanuel Sanders and it helps out Traquan Smith. I think it helps those 2 guys tremendously because they hadn't been this involved offensively. As far as Drew Brees and the rest of these guys, look, this is a confident offense. They are a record-setting offense, and they expect production. And I don't care if Drew Brees is 41 or if he's 81. They expect production out of that position, and they expect it from him. So his confidence hadn't wavered. But I thought for Emmanuel Sanders and Traquan Smith, I thought this was huge because they showed you can get that production without Michael Thomas. You can get that production without Jared Cook. You can get that production in the passing game without Alvin Kamara having to catch 13 passes for 139 yards, which is what he did last week. So I thought from that standpoint, it turns out to be huge because those guys needed to be more involved in this offense. They needed to feel a bigger part of this offense, and they needed to show that you can count on them. I think Traquan Smith, when he's been healthy, has shown that you can count on him a bit, but certainly this, I would imagine, would be his biggest game. Now, he's had some games where he's caught some record-setting touchdowns and that kind of stuff, but in terms of production singularly in a game where they really needed him. I thought this was a huge step for him in terms of his maturation process. We know he has been learning to play different positions offensively, and so now he's showing that versatility. And again, I can't say enough for Emmanuel Sanders. I mean, early in the game, I think they really loosened up that Detroit defense, forced the Lions on their heel a bit, and that allowed the Saints to run it a bit better.
I keep getting the head fake from our PR staff. We should be over to Sean Payton here just momentarily at Ford Field. But JD, I want to focus real quickly on that offensive line. The Saints are already without, Andrus Peat on that offensive line. You saw Ryan Ramczyk go out today. Ethan Greenidge jump in. Do you know that concussion protocol this year with the Saints playing on Monday, what that's going to look like?
Well, I don't know exactly what it's going to look like, but I know you have to, isolate it, and I know you have to, make sure he doesn't have the sensitivity
JD, I'm going to interrupt you real quick. We go now to Ford Field with our own Sean Payton.
Okay.
Sean, was it a sleepless night for you in light of everything that happened?
Yeah, listen, it is what it is. I'm proud of how we got ready to play despite some of the challenges, and there's 7, 8, 10 of us up at past 1 a.m, and that's the way it is. Took them a while to get the point of care test here.
Oh, okay. I was curious about that. I knew they probably returned the test pretty quickly. I didn't know you actually had to wait hours to get the test.
3 a.m.
So at what point did you know that you were playing a game today?
We were done by 12:55, and then we got the results back before 3 a.m. Look, we were playing a game and getting ready to play a game. That's part of the deal this year.
John, did it change your all's protocol this morning at all? Your schedule at all?
No. Look, they came back with a false positive. The concern that we had with the tracer system is, it only showed 3, and we knew it was way more than 3, just based on where he was sitting on the airplane. So we went ahead ourselves and point of care tested 4 or 5 more players that weren't on the tracing system. I think the tracing system has had some inaccuracies, to say the least, but I think we were smart enough to realize who else might have been exposed and went ahead and had those guys tested.
Sean, when you fall in the 14-0 hole right away, what's kind of the most important thing with just not letting that get out of control? It seemed like that long touchdown drive kind of settled things.
Yeah, I think it did. I think, look, we were able to regain kind of time of possession, and I think that helped. We've got to be better defensively on the first drive. It's happened too much this year. Our red zone defense is still something that needs work. I was proud overall of how the team played, considering some of the challenges that they had with some new players in the lineup. So overall, it's a good team win.
Focus wasn't going to be Michael Thomas. I thought he did a really nice job of catching contested passes and just going up and being a big play receiver. And he was another guy that got banged up a little bit with some type of I think he just lost a win, and it kind of scared him.
I thought, listen, I agree with you. I thought he was outstanding today. He made some contested plays in real big situations. The third down that he catches in that last drive, I mean, that was significant.
Sean, you talked about time of possession. You all dominated that area. How much was that a point of emphasis for you today?
Look, we wanted a couple things. We had to play this game a little differently relative to where we were at defensively. We were going to be aggressive on their side of the 54th down, so we were playing a 4-down game, if you will. We went for it once. We were going to go for it if we needed to more than just once. I thought we had a good rhythm. I thought Drew was outstanding. Thought we had him guessing for most of the first first half of the game. I thought our guys up front did a really good job at the line of scrimmage. I mean, I don't know what the rushing numbers were, but overall, though, we did a lot of things well that allow you to win a game.
Sean, the job that Patrick Robinson did in this one, and especially the play in the end zone, obviously, how big was that?
Well, tremendous. You know, it's tremendous. I don't know what happened on the series after that, but that's a, you know, it's a 7-point play, really. I'm proud of him, proud of PJ. You know, those guys not getting a lot of work and then all of a sudden being put in the lineup really well.
Sean, I know that you've talked about penalties the first few weeks. You only had 4 today, and 2 on Anzalone seemed rather questionable. As far as, just maybe cleaning that up and just doing better in that regard. And even if I saw you maybe laugh a little bit there, those penalties that were called on him, if you have any thoughts.
Yeah, look, we just got to keep working on it, keep battling, and it is a point of emphasis. So we are really making it a focal point, and yet sometimes you just, you got to battle through some calls.
Sean, I'm sure you would never want a 1-2 start and all the injuries you had and that COVID testing in the middle of the night, but how valuable is it for a team to experience something like this and prevail through something like this all at once?
Look, it's on the road, it's just one of those games you're proud of your team, and it's this game, it'll test you from an adversity standpoint. I think this year is going to be that way for a lot of us. New England's going to have to travel tomorrow, play a game tomorrow night. And quite honestly, no one really cares. And I mean that in a good way. There's far more other things that are important that we're suffering from than to hear about we were up till 1 or that's just the way it is this season. And so we have to understand that and then just be ready to still get ready to play our best game. And I thought that was important today, and our guys did that.
Sean, if things tightened up on offense to the point where the anticipation in that is where it's supposed to be, and you're having maybe those metal airs with some of the receivers and, Drew trying to hit them and they aren't where they're supposed to be.
Yeah, look, I hear what you're saying. I don't necessarily agree with all of it. We converted third downs today. Our time of possession was better. We'll just keep working on the execution.
Sean, was there an emphasis today on just kind of throwing the ball downfield? It seemed like y'all were pretty aggressive in that regard. And was that just something you saw before the game?
Well, it's a man-to-man team by nature. And so they do a real good job of playing that coverage, playing outside technique, funneling routes back into the interior of the defense. They'll play some cover 2. They'll change it up on you. And we had some big plays in the man coverage. Guys got open. Drew made some really good throws. We knew we were going to have to complement the run game. One more question.
Sean, to run it 42 times, that's an awful lot in an NFL game. Obviously, you got to be doing it well to do it that much, right?
Yeah, look, I'm going to say this. I thought the guys up front were outstanding. We had a couple injuries. We moved Easton over to left guard. He played extremely well. The tape's going to show it. Cesar Ruiz, got his first start. We had to make some adjustments there when we lost Ryan and the backs. I mean, we just did a lot of things well. And, it kind of goes hand in hand. I thought the third downs that we didn't convert were the longer distance or less manageable ones, but the ones we did, we put ourselves in a good position. And the one time went for it on 4th down and hit Alvin, I think, on the big play. Thank you.
Here shortly. JD, your keys going into today's game: minimize penalties, establish the pass rush, and keep running the ball. Penalties today for the Saints: 4 penalties for 67 yards. As we go now to Alvin Kamara.
First question's from Luke Johnson.
Yeah, Elvin, how just crazy was the 12 hours before the game and just all the stuff you guys had to kind of deal with last night?
And it was crazy, with all this protocol and stuff like that. Guys were up. I was up at 3 a.m. Just trying to figure out what was going on. Had to get retested. Other guys were up at 3, 4. I mean, Mike was the one that got the false positive. He was up at like 5. He was like, man, I ain't go to sleep. I'm like, but nobody cares at the end of the day. We still got to do what we got to do. So, we got past that and we came out here and we were able to get a win.
Next question's from Jeff Duncan.
Yeah, Alvin, how big was this win for you all, considering you were 1-2 and you all get down in that hole early, 14-0, and able to fight back despite all the adversity?
This win was big. Just coming off 2 losses. We came in here, we prepared all week, knew what we wanted to do, kind of execute the plan. Of course, those first 2 drives that we kind of. It was kind of fluky to me a little bit, but nobody got down on themselves. We stayed focused and we were able to execute and do what we had to do.
Next question's from Sean Fazend.
Hey, Alvin, 42 rushes today as a team. I guess can you just talk about the importance of just establishing a ground game today?
Yeah, I think we want to do that every week. We got the best O-line, I think, in the league. And, when those guys get going, it's hard to stop them, and I just kept going to Sean like, man, make them stop it. That's just what I'm thinking in my head because, when we get going, when our room is in talking about the running back room, when we get going behind that O-line, it's hard to stop. I think today was a good show.
Next one's from Catherine Terrell.
Hey, do you feel like today was maybe a springboard day for the offense? It felt like Drew was just putting the balls in tight windows and exactly where they needed to be, and everything just seemed to be clicking. I don't know if you got that sense too.
Yeah, just allude back to earlier this week, a question that I got about Drew, and a game like this will shut everybody up, just like I said. So he was on point. I'm never worried about that. It's nothing that I gotta award Drew for, being Drew. I say it every year. It's Drew Brees. It's not much to say. He's as advertised. So he did a good job today. We were able to get our offense going. Sean was on point, and we got a big win.
Sorry, that makes me laugh a little bit. Just in light of this whole weekend, that feels like it was weeks ago at this point.
Yeah, exactly.
Next question's from Mike Triplett.
Alvin, just to follow up on that 42 carries, how much pride do you and I guess Latavius probably both take in? If that's the game plan, we're just going to run it and set the tone that way. How much do you invite that as a runner?
Yeah, I love it. I think my tone and my message to our room every week is, make it run through us, make it flow through us, make the game flow through us. So, make Sean give us the ball. And, when we're getting the ball and we're going and we're moving how we want to move and we're getting positive yardage and the O-line is feeling it, I think it's hard to stop us and it's hard to stop our offense. And then, not to mention Drew on point, putting the balls where they need to be at, Sean on point, calling plays. It's poetry.
Next one's from Luke Johnson.
Alvin, how big were Emmanuel Sanders and Traquan today, especially with Traquan and those situational catches?
Yeah, I'm not even going to talk about the catches they had. They were out there blocking their ass off. And, that's something that they take pride in, I think. Even Emmanuel, Sean was kind of messing with him about, can he block? And, he showed it. He was out there taking pride in that. And then, just going on to what they do, what their job description is, catching the balls, big catches when we need them. They were doing what they had to do. It's kind of, it's what I expect. I'm just out there hyped, I'm happy to see it, but it's what I expect. So it's not a surprise.
Last question's from Nick Underhill.
You just said it felt like poetry. Is this the first time or the most you've had that feeling this year, just as far as the offense being in sync and everything?
Yeah, I think this is the most sync we've been in, but we still got to get better. It's not perfect. It's not where we want to be. It's a stepping stone. We were able to get a win, so that feels good. But, it's still so much more that we need to get better at, so much more that we need to clean up. So it's not – I'm happy we got a win, but I'm not satisfied at all, at all. I think there's so much more that we can do. So that's what we're going to do, go watch the film, get it cleaned up, and do what we got to do and work and get ready for Monday.
All right, we're all set. Thanks, AK.
Traquan Smith.
All right, we have Traquan Smith here. First question's from Nick Underhill.
So Mike Thomas tweeted during the game that we were supposed to ask you what he told you before the game, and he said you were out there doing it.
Right before the game, Mike texted me. He was like, "Ball out, bro." And I sent him the 100 emoji. So yeah, that's what he told me before the game. He told me to ball out.
Next one's from Mike Triplett.
Traquan, obviously the 2 touchdowns are big plays, but that play in the fourth quarter, did that feel like that one was as pivotal as anything that happened on the field today?
Yeah, definitely. I feel like that was probably the biggest play of the day. Definitely, we really needed the first down, and Drew trusted me and threw me the ball, and I came down with it. So by far, that was kind of like the biggest play. It kind of like iced the game for us, to secure the win.
Were you the primary on that, Traquan?
Yes, I definitely was the primary. We worked on it multiple times in practice. So yeah, I was with the primary receiver on that one.
Next one's from Amy Just.
Big game for Emmanuel Sanders today, and you could see the chemistry between him and Drew. You're smiling, so obviously you see it too. What's your take on that? Just them finally getting it together.
Oh man, I'm definitely happy because when they get going, it makes me want to get going and participate and make plays. It's just kind of was frustrating because we didn't have the time like OTAs to get the timing down with Drew, and that's a big thing with Drew. His timing, his anticipation. So once they got going, I knew it was gonna be something special. And just to show you when they're on the same page, like hey, when we all on the same page, look what our offense can do.
Next question's from Rod Walker.
Traquan, I'm not sure if you're one of the ones who was up really late last night, but if so, what was just the nerves like, just sitting around waiting and not knowing and all the unknowns involved with that?
I wasn't really up late. I heard about it when I woke up, and then Sean talked about it a little bit in the team meeting, not in the team meeting, but after the game, like guys was up like 1 a.m. or something getting tested. Like I had no idea. I was asleep.
Next question's from Nick Underhill.
Obviously, you guys want Mike out there, but given that you can't change that situation and it is what it is, do you feel like it's created maybe an opportunity that you've taken advantage of to maybe prove yourself and learn more about yourself and show what you can do in this offense?
Yeah, definitely. But I say this about the NFL. It's always the next man up. So you got to be prepared, to prepare to take your opportunity when your opportunity is presented to you. But, it's nothing like having Mike back on the team. The chemistry is way different. The offense is different. And we love to see him back. It's a team game. You can't win the game by yourself. It's a team game. We love to have him back in the offense when it's possible.
Do you feel like you've grown a little bit, though, over these last 4 games?
Yeah. I felt like there's a lot of weight on my shoulders to, help fill in for Mike. But now, I got really comfortable with it. And I feel that I really know the offense now, knowing my position, which I never played before. So I definitely grew. Over the last couple games.
Next question's from Luke Johnson.
Hey, Traquan, just 2 parts. What happened on that play where you had to leave the field? It looks like it happened way far away from the play. And then Alvin said you and Emmanuel were both like kind of key in the run game tonight. He said you blocked your asses off. So I just wanted to see how important that was for you.
Well, to answer your first question on that play, I had a shallow route, and CJ been preaching to me all this week. Watch the P dropper, watch the linebackers, and I didn't watch the linebacker. And I'm turning my head, looking at Drew, and next thing you know, I got lit up. I got the wind knocked out of me, and they thought I broke a rib or something. And I told them I was okay, like I'm fine. I just got the wind knocked out of me, and like this game, it's pretty much about the blocking. It's you gotta love to catch the ball. You gotta love to block. Just being a receiver. Because every time it's not gonna be your play. So and that's a big thing. CJ preach about an extra Mississippi. Because we got Latavius and Kamara who are going to break tackle. So we gotta stay on our man long enough so they get past them. So that's a big thing in this offense, the blocking.
That wraps it up. Thanks, Traquan.
Thank you, guys.
Welcome back in. You're watching the New Orleans Saints postgame show presented by Mercedes-Benz. Saints beat the Lions today 35-29. We go to JD at Ford Field. JD, we talked about your keys before the game and minimalizing penalties, pass rush, and keep running the ball. Cam Jordan had his first sack of the season today. How much did that pass rush up front help the guys in the secondary, especially with their two starting cornerbacks out?
Well, they needed to get Matt Stafford uncomfortable, and I thought they did that on several situations. They didn't get him on the ground as much as they'd like to, but I think they had 3 sacks. They ended up with the interception, and so I thought they made him uncomfortable, minimizing the penalties. They still need to do a little bit better job of that. Now, a couple of those, as you heard Coach Payton, those are kind of iffy, and those can go both ways. And some of those are where you tell your players to play it the exact same way, because the next crew might not call that penalty. I thought a couple on Alex Anzalone were really, really iffy. So, you just try to tell guys to keep playing consistently, and you hope that the officiating crew sees it the same way as your players do. And running the football, when you're missing Michael Thomas, you're missing Jared Cook, I just thought it was important for the team to shrink the game. Coming into this game, Detroit was allowing 172 rushing yards per game. That's the most in the league, more than 5 yards per rush. That was the most in the league. So they were a team that was susceptible to the run. So I thought the Saints could be able to do that, shrink the game a little bit, and maybe take a little bit of air out of it and deflate them defensively if you beat them up and run enough.
JD, another game that the Saints hold their opposing team to under 100 yards on that running defense. Do you think the defense is slowly starting to hit their stride? I mean, we've mentioned it all throughout the show that the Saints were without 6 of their starters in the game today, but it seems like both sides of the ball really seem to gain some confidence and momentum in today's game against the Lions.
Well, I think both units will tell you they left some things out there. The defense will not like giving up 29 points. They will not like not forcing a couple of turnovers. Marcus Williams had an interception in the end zone overturned. They won't like that. Offensively, they really got into a groove in the second and third quarters, but those 35 points for a stretch there, it looked like it could have been 49 or 52 or something like that. So they'll probably feel like they left some points on the field. So neither unit will be happy, of course, but it's progress for a defensive unit that had given up 30 plus in its last 2 games. It gets right on that borderline at 29, but that last touchdown, I don't want to say it was a throw one on top touchdown, but I thought for the most part when they needed to get critical stops in the middle of that game when the offense was rolling, that was as good as both units have complemented one another at any point in this season, and you saw it on a 35-0 run. You won't have that in every game, but in this game it was needed, and they were able to produce it.
On the offensive side of the ball, JD, do you think we'll start to see more out of Traquan Smith? We've seen his development over the past several years with the Saints. Obviously, Michael Thomas was out this week. We don't know when he's coming back, hopefully soon. But do you think we'll see the Saints and Sean Payton utilize Traquan more?
Well, you got to believe that they have a ton of confidence in him right now. So why not? Now, when Michael Thomas comes back, of course, that's going to take away from his opportunities. And the way Emmanuel Sanders played, of course, that's going to minimize his opportunities. And if Jared Cook comes back, then that's going to minimize his opportunities. But if you put all 3 of those guys on the field, along with Alvin Kamara, and you throw Traquan Smith out there, if anybody is going to draw one-on-one coverage, it's going to be Traquan Smith. And can he beat that coverage? Yeah, we saw that today, and we've seen that in the past. He's a tough guy. He's got really good hands in traffic. He can do some acrobatic things. So if he can stay healthy again, he's learned the offense. That's been beneficial to him because he probably didn't know it as well as he wanted to his first 2 seasons. He's learned the offense better. He can be a playmaker. And so again, and when you get down deeper in the rotation, and you're playing against nickels and dimes at cornerback, he's the guy that can beat those coverages.
I think we are about to go to Ford Field to hopefully hear from another player. I think we're getting maybe a head fake from our PR staff. We'll get you over to Ford Field as soon as we can. But JD, looking forward to next week. The Saints are going to be going against a Chargers team who fell to the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. If you had 1 or 2 areas of improvement, let's start with the defense for the Saints to fix going against the Chargers, what would they be?
Well, how much can you disguise your defense and confuse a rookie quarterback? Hopefully, Justin Herbert is still going to be on the field for them. If not, it'll be Tyrod Taylor. And Tyrod Taylor is more of a running threat than a passing threat, but that dual threat puts a lot of stress on your defense. If you're the Saints, maybe you'd rather see that rookie quarterback who hasn't seen everything in the NFL yet, and maybe you can be exotic with him and maybe force some turnovers out of him or get him to hold the ball a little bit longer and be able to sack him. That's what you're looking for from a rookie quarterback. I don't know how well the Chargers run the ball right now, but I know if you've got a rookie quarterback, the Saints have found success in those situations because generally at some point in time in the game you can confuse a young guy. You can throw something at him that he hadn't seen before, or you can throw something at him that he thinks he saw, and you can change it up at the line of scrimmage and maybe bait him into doing something and make a mistake. So hopefully if you're the Saints, you'd probably rather see that rookie quarterback, and he's probably less of a running threat than Taylor too, so you don't have to worry so much about that aspect of it.
Hopefully you get some guys back from that inactives list today too. What about on the offensive side of the ball, JD? What kind of corrections would you like to see from the offense?
Well, I mean, you want to see him just be able to cash in a little bit more often. You know, that first turnover, you know, it was fluky, you know, a bouncing ball. And so, you know, you really don't want to hold that against them. But that first 3 and out, you don't necessarily like that situation. I mean, well, they finally got to the 3 and out with Thomas Morstead later in the game. But in some critical situations down the stretch when they needed to eat a bit of clock when they get into their 4-minute offense, they didn't execute it quite as cleanly
JD,
as
I'm going to interrupt you real quick. I believe we're going out to Ford Field for Patrick Robinson.
First question's from Sean Fazend.
Hey, Patrick, can you just kind of describe what you saw on the interception in the end zone? It was obviously a big play in the game.
Yeah, well, it was kind of a scramble play, and I guess the quarterback wanted to throw a jump ball. I came down with it.
Next question's from Luke Johnson.
Patrick, when did you actually find out you were going to be starting on the outside? And I guess, what did you think of your performance today?
I think I found out Thursday. No, but I was always ready. I'm sorry, what was the second part of that question?
Well, what did you think of your performance today, just first glance?
I thought I did all right. From afar, you may think that I did great, but no. I can't get anything out right now. But yeah, I mean, it was all right.
Next one's from Mike Triplett.
Patrick, obviously the last couple of years have probably been pretty difficult for you with the injury and then the lack of playing time. How easy is it for you to stay ready, as you said, and wait, a couple of years for a big opportunity and then to deliver like this?
Well, the main part is staying healthy. Just doing my job. Doing all the things that we practice and talk about. A lot of times, I think, as players, we kind of make things like, a lot harder than what we should make it. We do our normal technique. I mean, we should be fine.
Next one's from Nick Underhill.
How has it been for you just being back around Malcolm Jenkins? You played with him a lot throughout your career. Is there a level of comfort just having him around?
Definitely. Yeah, definitely. I think we see, a lot of things the same. So that makes it a lot easier for me.
Next question's from Amy Just.
I don't know if you knew what was going on the other side of the ball with the 12 hours before the game. Traquan said he had no idea until today. But just how wild, I guess, is that at some point last night, the game today was uncertain.
I'm not sure what you're asking me. I'm not sure what you're asking.
With Michael Burton's false positive test and kind of throwing everything into chaos last night.
To be honest, I didn't find out until, I guess, maybe 2 hours before the game. So I didn't really know until maybe like 10 o'clock this morning, I would say.
Next question's from Rod Walker.
Here, I wanted to sort of take for this team to settle down after they jumped on you all 14-0 early.
I mean, I would say mid first quarter, I think we came back. Then we got our feet under us, and we didn't look back for the most part.
All right, we're all set. Thanks, Patrick.
Thank you.
You ready?
First question's from Nick Underhill.
Feels like we ask you this every week, but it keeps getting better. Is this the most comfortable and the most settled in you felt so far in the offense? And do you feel like you're all the way there yet?
Yeah, I think I'm all the way there. Just getting familiar. And like I said, it was never the plays, it was the splits and just all the little details. And so I think I'm starting to get comfortable with just the city of New Orleans and just everything in general. And so, it feels good to go out and get a win today and catch a few passes and get a couple targets. So I'm happy. And but at the same time, I'm looking forward to stacking another win.
Next question's from Luke Johnson.
Emmanuel, it seemed like you guys were pretty aggressive with shots down the field today. Was that something you guys were anticipating being a thing today?
Yeah, I mean, we knew they're coming into the game, they were going to play man. And so we knew that the opportunities are going to be there. So we just had to capitalize on them and exactly what we thought we were going to get, they gave us. And so, like I said, we were able to capitalize on them and hopefully, we keep capitalizing on them going forward.
Next one's from Amy Just.
It was a late night for some of your teammates. Was it with the testing situation? Was it a late night for you too? Just kind of worried about these things, or did you have no idea?
I didn't have a clue until this morning when I woke up to a couple of text messages of people telling me that the game might not happen, and then they text me back pretty much saying that it was happening. I go to sleep with my phone on do not disturb before a game, so I get all the news the next day. But I'm happy we were able to get the game in, happy we won, and excited about what's to come.
How confusing was that to wake up to those text messages when you had no idea what was going on?
It was definitely confusing at first. I was like reading with one eye open and trying to figure out what was going on, and then I saw the back and forth, and it's crazy because then the ESPN alert popped up on my phone and said that the game will still be going on. It was definitely crazy because when I first read, the first thing I thought about is, dang, I was just eating the dinner with him. I was like, I hope I don't have anything, and then to see that the game was going on, I was happy to see that.
Next one's from Andrew Doak.
Doak, you're muted.
We can go back to Andrew. Next one's from Brett Martell.
Hey, Emmanuel, just give me your big picture impressions of you go on the road down about 5 or 6 starters. Then some of you guys have to deal with the testing thing until 1 a.m. or so, the anxiety. Some of them were up until 3. And then you come into the game and it's 14-0, 5 minutes into the first quarter. I know this is your first year with this group, but could you give me your thoughts on how the team responded to all that collectively?
Yeah, so I remember one of my mentors used to tell me that the problems that you have, a lot of people are happy that you got those problems. And so this is one of those deals, right? It's like what has happened, with the testing, just with everything. But what can we do about it? The game was set to be played at 1 o'clock, and we had to go out and handle business regardless of what the conditions were. And so that has to be the mindset no matter what. It's one of those situations that you can't control, and the only thing we can do is just line it up and go and play ball. That's what we did.
All right, we're all set. Thanks, Emmanuel.
All right, thank you.
Guys, we're going to have Drew here. Let's fire away in the chat.
All right, Drew, first question is going to be from Jeff Duncan.
Hey, Drew, can you kind of put into perspective for us how big this win was considering the adversity you all had with the injuries and the crazy overnight situation with the COVID testing?
Yeah, I mean, there was a lot going on. You know, obviously coming off of 2 losses as well, where we didn't play our best football. We knew that you know, we could play a lot better, we could execute a lot better. Coming up here, we lose some starters this week, you know, in practice, and then, you know, we kind of had the whole COVID ordeal last night, or a false positive that unfortunately kept a lot of people up late and all that stuff. But man, I think it just says a lot about this team, a lot of all the guys that stepped up and filled those voids, filled those roles, and everybody just persevered and found a way to get a big win today.
Next one's from Luke Johnson.
Drew, just with Michael Thomas and Jared Cook out, I was just curious what your thoughts were on Emmanuel and Traquan today, especially Traquan. Like, he came up with some really big situations.
Yeah, listen, both those guys played outstanding, and really the entire cast. I mean, it takes everybody, you know. And I think you know we knew that. I think the last 2 weeks, you know, we have not had the level of execution. We haven't had the kind of the tempo and the rhythm that we know that we can have. And I felt like we had a good plan coming into this game. You know, we got some different stuff from the Lions defense than we thought, but we were able to adjust. Man, guys played great. You know, we ran the ball extremely well. O-line did a great job. Latavius Murray ran his tail off, and felt like we were just constantly able to dent the defense, and then with some big plays in the passing game when we got the right matchups, and you know, just all the way around, it was just great execution. A ton of guys did a great job.
Next one's from Sean Fazend.
Hey, Drew, I'm just curious, what did you see on the last third down connection to Traquan, kind of that I guess that crosser route on the third down on the final drive there?
I didn't see much. I was getting hit. I was on my back, but I felt like there was a place I could get the ball up and over the defender. You know, they dropped a safety down to kind of rob the middle of the field, and you know, felt Traquan, you know, get past his guy and get over the top of that guy, and obviously that was a huge play. You know, sustained the drive, gave us another set of downs, and then we were able to close it out, you know, with the next first down. But you know, that's a huge play in the game. If you don't make that play, then you know you're punting the ball to them, and they've got a lot of time left.
Next one's from Nick Underhill.
Alvin referred to the game as poetry with the way you were playing and the way Sean was calling it. Did you feel like this was the closest to being where you guys want to be as an offense so far through the 4 games?
Yeah. Listen, I felt like it was good tempo. I felt like it was very balanced. I felt like we ran the ball very well, threw the ball well. You know, we were great on third down, 10 of 14. You know, scored touchdowns in the red zone. So, you know, I think that, you know, I hate that we had 2 drives in the fourth quarter that you know, put our defense back on the field too quickly. You know, I felt like we had an opportunity to get some points there with our drive that extended into the fourth quarter. You know, we ended up punting them down and pinning them down at the 2-yard line, but we really should have gotten points there. And then we had, I think, just a 3-and-out, you know, that next drive, which, you know, and then besides the tipped interception, which is just bad luck, you know, on the first play of the game, or first drive. Other than that, I felt like, you know, listen, it's hard to put together 5 consecutive scoring drives. You know, we were able to do that today. And it was just great execution all the way around. I mean, you name it. We had big plays in the passing game. We ran the ball well. We had a screen or 2. But all in all, I think everybody just did their job, played really well.
Next one's from Amy Just.
Yeah, that's a perfect segue. How important was it for y'all to get on the right footing, especially after the first play didn't exactly go your way?
Well, again, I think it says a lot about our team. You know, they go down the field, they get a touchdown on their first series, and then unfortunately we get the tip ball on the first play, and so they get the ball right back and get. So we're down 14-0, and it hadn't even been 5 minutes expired on the clock. You know, so I think for us, just to remain very calm and poised, and then, again, to offensively put together 5 consecutive drives with touchdowns, 35 points, and defense to play as well as they did. Going into that fourth quarter, it's now 35-14, and we knew we were going to have to close this team out. They're a finish strong type team. They got a great quarterback on the other side who's used to putting together those types of drives. So we knew we had to close it out.
Next one's from Rod Walker.
Hey, Drew, back in week 1, I think it was, you called your performance awful. How does it feel just personally? What does it mean you just sort of get back into your groove like you did today?
Yeah. Well, listen, we've set the bar high, high expectations. There's a reason we won more games over the last 3 years than any other team. It's because we practice, we prepare. We have a great process in how we prepare for games, and then how we plan to execute and the level of expectation and the speed at which we play, the variation with which we can win football games. This is obviously the closest to where I know we can be, thus far this season. We still have a lot of work to do, but I'm excited to get back to work on it.
We're all set. Thank you, Drew.
Thank you.
All right, guys, we have Michael Burton here. If you have questions, put them in the chat and we'll get going. First question's from Sean Fazend.
Hey, so how was your night? I know it was a little crazy for you. So you can just kind of describe what happened?
Yeah, it was long. It really was. Not something I was expecting, but, these are the times. And, I'm just glad everything worked out. We won the game. That's the most important thing. No one else, that I came in close contact with had it. And thankfully, obviously, I didn't have it. But just glad we got the win. And but it was a long night for sure.
Next one's from Amy Just.
Yeah. How long did that wait feel, just waiting and waiting for y'all to get the test in the first place and then for you to finally get the results back at whatever time that was?
Yeah, it was late into the morning, maybe 3, 4 a.m., something like that. Just a lot of emotions going on, because you never want to be a distraction. I'm a guy, I pride myself in, putting the team first and, not being that guy that causes just, distractions. They had to wake up other guys and test them. I'm sure Coach Payton was up trying to figure some stuff out, the doctors, so it's just that uneasy feeling. You're just kind of waiting, laying in bed, waiting for your phone call to find out, what the diagnosis is and stuff like that. So, but again, glad it was positive or negative and everything worked out well, but definitely.
Next one's from Fletcher Mackel.
Yeah, just to follow up with that. 1, first, did you sleep at all last night? And then 2, were you asymptomatic? And I guess talking about not wanting to let your teammates down and things like that, how surprised were you if you are asymptomatic and just thought this possibly can't be? Did you think initially maybe it is a false positive?
Yeah, didn't sleep much at all. Again, just thinking about my teammates, and the negative effect I could have had on them. It was really difficult. It was tough. And I made it, in my mind, that everything was going to work out. I told the doctor when I got the call, I was like, there's no way, and not that means anything and not that it can't happen again. Right. But I just said, there's no way, I try to take all the proper precautions that are set in place by our team and the NFLPA, something I take very seriously, to not be that guy, to be a distraction. And, again, luckily it all worked out well. And I just try to go out today and, play the best game I could to help my team win, because I know last night was tough for the guys, coaches, and doctors. And I didn't want to be, the centerpiece of that. And, I'm glad, again, that everything worked out. Everyone's healthy, and that's really the most important thing.
Next one's from Mike Triplett.
Michael, you said there were a lot of emotions. I'm curious, how much did anger enter into the situation at some point in the middle of the night? And when did sort of determination or maybe even laughing at it to kick in and be like, what else could be stacked against us?
Right. Anger. Yeah. You get that initial call and you're just kind of like, how's that possible? Again, and anything is possible. And we live in a very unpredictable world right now with everything going on with COVID. But, just like that feeling that, you know, you let your team down. And I think that's one of the worst feelings you can feel. It's worse than anger. And, I kind of had that feeling until I found out that I was negative, because obviously that's really important, but it meant to me that the other guys weren't going to be positive. And that was the most important thing to me, that I didn't affect or get anybody else on my team sick. That to this day is the most important thing for me. And, it kind of, when I found out that, then I got determined, and I said, regardless of the distractions, how late, lack of sleep, this, that, and the other, I'm going to go out there and just play the best game I can, to help this team win, and, because we're already kind of banged up and, like you said, kind of backs against the wall, and it was nice to get a win for sure.
Were there any actual conversations like that though, between guys, like saying, it feels like nothing else could have gone against you guys this week?
Yeah. Just a lot of noise, right? It was just another distraction, and you want to eliminate distractions as best you can, and that's something that this team and this culture has done so well for such a long time, and I'm not surprised that we went out there and won the game, and also got down, a little bit early, and we were able to come fight and claw back and win the football game. And again, that's the most important thing, but it's a testament to the type of guys that are in this locker room, the culture that is here, that the coaches put together, that the personnel put together, the GM. It's an amazing place that can overcome really anything with their backs against the wall. And just a really special group.
All right, we're all set. Thank you, Michael.
Thank you.
Hey guys, we're pretty tight for time. We've got Cam Jordan for 3 or 4 questions, and we got to get the bus. Thank you. Back up, baby, back up. So
that's what I'm saying. They won't even see it all.
All right, Cam. First question is going to be from Amy Just.
You broke through today. First sack of the season. How did that feel, getting that out of the way and bringing Stafford down?
We have a saying that goes around the D line. Sacks, when they come in bunches. I ended up getting one. Trey got one. David Onyemata got one. Love the way the defensive line was really going after.
Next one's from Nick Underhill.
Cam, how were you guys able to settle down after the way the game started and lock in and kind of get back on track?
Yeah, you look up in the first quarter, they're up by 14. We just got to, get back to our fundamentals, get back to our foundation, and how we ride as a defense. We got an interception late to return fire, and honestly, I think we really started putting pressure on him. He had to get the ball out faster than I'm sure that he wanted. There was a couple errant throws, and other than that, I think we really had a plan to get after him. We knew that he wanted to escape through the B gap, and after his first initial run, we sort of took control of all that. Take it. I finally got one. Okay. Yep.
Next one's from Amy Just.
With all the adversity that was facing y'all on both sides of the field, 6 starters out, and then the COVID scare last night that kept some people up till 5 a.m., how important was getting this win today, especially since you came in with 2 straight losses too?
Man, the object of this week was overcome adversity. We had all types of starters going down. You go into a game without your 2 starting corners. The offensive lineman goes down in the game. Our star wide receiver, Mike T. I feel like we built this roster to where, we have the next man up mentality. And at the same time, we had guys who, hadn't even been on the team a week. You bring in Ken Crawley, he comes in and plays. This is something that you can sort of be proud of, the effort that put forth, but at the same time, we still got a lot to clean up.
Next one's from Amy Just.
Yeah, significantly less penalties today. How good was that to see?
That's amazing to clean up. We still had a couple that we'd love to play a perfect game. We got another week, another opportunity to get better from them.
All set. Thank you, Cam.
Okay, perfect.
Well, Cam is certainly not lacking on personality, that's for sure. JD, do you have any updates for us on the injuries of the players that went out of today's game? You said earlier Ryan Ramczyk went out with that concussion. We'll wait to hear more throughout the week, but Deontay Harris and Justin Hardy also left the game to go to locker room.
As a matter of fact, I do not. No, you know how the team operates. They don't give injury updates until Wednesday, until it's absolutely necessary. I guess, in the latest injury report, we obviously know that Ryan Ramczyk did go out with a concussion, so we'll get the update on him on Wednesday. Not exactly sure what happened to Justin Hardy Sr. or Deontay Harris. Saw both of those guys leave the field late in the game, and not exactly sure what happened there. And we did see Alvin Kamara finish up as the punt and kick returner, so that's obviously something that's critical also, because we're talking about an all-pro returner in Deontay Harris. And in Justin Hardy, we're talking about one of the best guys in the league when it comes to being a gunner, whether that be on the punt team or whether that be a guy on the coverage team on the kickoffs. So those are really critical ones, and not to mention Ryan Ramczyk, obviously an all-pro right tackle. So these are serious injuries if those guys can't get back on the field toward
okay,
Monday
JD,
night.
we will bid you adieu. Good luck on your travels back from Detroit. And before we let you all go, all of our fans watching the New Orleans Saints post-game show, we'll leave you with some highlights.
From the Lions 3, Kamara in motion, the give to Murray, and Latavius Murray is in for first and goal from the 1. It is Kamara who takes. Breeze fires downfield with the catch is made by Kamara. As Breeze sets, throws to the end zone, Smith dips into the backfield on 2nd and goal. Breeze to the end zone. Breeze on 3rd down, hands it on to Murray, and with the push, he is in. And now Stafford rolling right, throws, and it is Armstead punting from midfield. Amendola lets it go, and it is down. 56. 280. 2nd down and 2. Adrian Peterson. Lions must get to the 36 for first down, as Stafford is taken down.